Hey, dude, YouTube, it's Will from Middle Development. This is my 442nd weekly update. We are back in Studio B, I guess, right? The used to be permanent. Oh no, this is Studio A, actually, yeah, because this is where I used to shoot all my stuff. And then I moved to B, which was like my living room, and then C, which was supposed to be the permanent office. But long story short, it has been a week in real life. My truck still runs, but cylinder three is misfiring. Now I have a background in mechanics, so I'm gonna more than likely be able to fix it. It's really only like one of three things, and like an adult, I've actually chosen to just do the cheapest thing first and then go from there. I'll know when I finally pull that spark plug this weekend if it's a gas problem or if it's a spark problem. I know it's not an air problem. Well, I don't know that. I'm just assuming it's not an air problem because the thing does still run, and the code said it was cylinder three. So odds are it's either just an injector, which wouldn't be the first time. I mean, the truck has over 200,000 miles on it, so and I never replaced them, and I doubt the people who owned it before me did either. So perfectly possible it just went out. They do that. do do. Um, could just be a plug just went bad. It's been about 50 or 60,000 miles. It's perfectly possible. It could just be a wire went bad. Either way, I'm replacing all the plugs and wires, and that's like cost me like $60 total. And then found all the injectors, like all six of them, because I just drive a V6 for like $60 as well. And I was like, you know what, for 120 bucks, let's see if it works. And if all those three things, wires, plugs, and injectors don't fix it, then the last thing it could be would be the actual what do you call that thing? It's not a distributor cap anymore, but it's the same thing. The coil pack, which mine has just one pack for the whole engine. And I remember buying that thing for not so much money, and then everywhere I looked that had it locally, it was like $70. Which, I mean, if I gotta spend it, I gotta spend it. It is what it is. But luckily I've had my bike for traveling this weekend or this week, so I've been able to get wherever I needed to go to do whatever I needed to do thus far. Um, and the truck has made it far beyond where it probably should have been pushed. But generally speaking, running a engine with one cylinder down, you know, long term, yeah, it'll cause a lot of problems. But short term, less than 50 miles, which is what I've done to it, um, there shouldn't be a ton of problems. I mean, there's some piston ring issues that can come up because it's not moving the way it should, and some extra stress on the crank and the what do you call those rods, but it should be fine. I'll know this weekend. Maybe not this weekend. I'm still waiting for the injectors to come in, and I won't even try to start it till I get those new ones in. Um, might never know what actually fixed the problem, but I will know because if I pull the plug on cylinder three and it smells like gas, then that tells me it's the spark, and if it doesn't smell like gas, then that means it was the injector. It's a pretty easy little tell right there. But oh yeah, the reason I'm in this studio. The I was replacing a light fixture in the kitchen, and I believed I had turned all the breakers off and everything, but I was incorrect to say the least. And in a way, it's kind of a good thing I was wrong. Um, Scary as hell, because I've never had a wire chew through a piece of fixture that I was attaching and spark all over my face as I was working on it. So that was very scary. When that happened, didn't get electrocuted or anything. But yeah, it chewed through the wire, caused some sort of problem. And what I didn't know is that my kitchen overhead light, the microwave plug outlet, and the hallway light are all in the same circuit. So that's interesting to know. And what I also didn't know is that the office, which is my second bedroom, is also on that same circuit. So I have no power going to that room at all. And at this point, I've just said, hey, I knew a guy who knew a guy um, that's an electrician and can come out check it out for cheap. And I'm like, you know what? At this point, I don't have the tools. I don't have the confidence of know-how to diagnose what the hell went wrong. I also sort of feel like that's a lot of stuff to have on one breaker, but again, I'm not an electrician, so I don't really know. I could be wrong. That might be, a fine amount of things to have on one breaker. The hell do I know? So yeah, I have no power, which means I have no light in that room, which is just lovely. Luckily, I still have a stove and a fridge, and all the other outlets in there also work, so it's not a big deal. It'll get worked out. It will. I'm kind of mad at myself that it happened, but honestly, if it hadn't happened that way, then I probably would have put the thing up, turn the power back on, and it would have just done the same thing except up in the ceiling, and then we're talking potential fire. So it all worked out for the best in a way, and I have an older house. It is what it is. The wiring in here was put in by probably the cheapest person they could find and done the cheapest way they possibly could do it. So, it is what it is. It's like buying somebody's project car. You never really know what you're getting into until you start digging away at it. So yeah, that's why I'm back in Studio A. But training this week, in spite of all the stuff that's been going on, went pretty darn well. Squats went really well. I had like probably one of the best sets of front squats I've had in my life. I was actually able to keep the elbows up through every rep, and I felt good. I felt like activation where I wanted to. Let me see if I can hold this a little more steadily. Which is mostly in my quads, and that was a really good day. And then pressing on Tuesday went pretty damn well. Hit the log. Was just doing some like 3x3 kind of work on it. Clean and press away this go round, because I really need to work on that, like putting the log back into the rack position and then pressing again. And it went okay. It went fine. Wednesday, I spent the day palletizing 5 stones that actually went out to California, which is super cool. That is the furthest any of my stones have ever gone. So that was an exciting day, especially driving my truck with the dead cylinder and 1,500 pounds worth of stones in it. Super fun, not stressful at all. I didn't curse or scream one little bit, and if you believe that, I also have a bridge to sell you. My Thursday, most of the day was just spent waiting for the pickup for said pallet, so that was a super exciting day. I did bring food along with me and water, so I was doing okay. And then after it got picked up, which was a super fun experience actually, it didn't go that challenging, but it was definitely one of those stressful things that was, well, stressful. After that got picked up, I just walked across the street to the gym, and just did a little fiddle fuck stuff. I didn't do a whole bunch of stuff really at all. And I said, you know what, I'm just going to save it for tomorrow. And it was awesome that I did. It was really good that I did, because I went in today and just smashed axle. Like, all the weights felt really good. Was able to work up to 90% for a couple singles, and they really didn't even feel that bad. The clean felt fine. The press felt fine. Actually, my 80 something percent warm up felt more challenging on both the clean and the press than the 90 did. And then dropped down to like, I think 70 something percent, like 78%, and did that for triples. And those felt just phenomenal. Then did a bunch of accessory work too. So training this week went super good, and yeah, just keep working, just keep grinding. And the lesson this week is definitely just remembering and keeping in mind that everything will work out, everything's gonna be okay. Yeah, the kitchen light slash office situation is very stressful. On top of the truck being mildly incapacitated, also very stressful. But, it is what it is. At least I have the know-how to fix the truck on my own. And, well, that's all there is to it. And everything will work out. It'll all be fine. This is one of those, it's peaks and valleys, and I'm in a valley right now, and there's nothing wrong with that. Everything will be okay. It's easy to say that now that I've had to sort of live with it and digest it for a few days. But in a couple of months, I'll look back and laugh. I know I will. So yeah, keep that in mind, that there's peaks and valleys to everything. Training's supposed to get you ready for life. Luckily, I had a lot of peaks this week on training, and life just happened to have a bunch of valleys this week. And that's okay. It'll all work out. It'll all be okay. So keep that in mind, and if you don't, then what's your excuse?